Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Make Life Less Taxing podcast, the show where we uncover what really creates freedom in life and business, and we'll explore stories of those who've learned how to build wealth with purpose.
Welcome back to the Make Life Less Taxing podcast. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Verneka Murphy, a founder of Multimillionaire Consulting Group and the visionary behind the Blueprint to Billions. Her team is helping high-performing professionals and small business owners turn taxable income into lasting, compounding wealth using what she calls the conversion factor. Dr. Murphy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here.
It's great for you to be here. Now, Dr. Murphy, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what is it that you do?
Absolutely. So, hi, everybody. Of course, I'm Dr. Verneka Murphy, CEO and founder of Multimillionaire Consulting Group. And what we do specifically in the marketplace is we focus on the money that people are unnecessarily giving away, that taxable money. What we do is we take that. There's ways that we transform that into more money, more wealth, more than what they've ever seen in their lifetime. And we use that to collapse time. Therefore, now that business or that business owner is now making more money than ever. They make more in their business. We're actually utilizing money that they were giving away to create more wealth. And then we specialize as well in tax deductible solutions. So we deduct out pretty much everything that we do. And the idea is for you to be able to keep everything, to be able to have those pieces that others didn't necessarily have before. We do have a plight, I would say, to level the playing field for everybody. So if you think about it, it just hasn't been fair. You see many people in the marketplace, and it's like, how are they able to do what they do? They just seem to always get richer. They seem to never pay taxes. I mean, they almost thumb it in your face. And yet everybody else is still in kind of the struggle or the day-to-day. So that is part of our company, part of our company's mission to just level the playing field for all.
That's great. So you basically take whatever they already have and you try to amplify it so that they have more. That's really what it comes down to. That's really great. Now, how did you get started? What did first lead you into this world of finance, strategy and wealth building?
Yeah. Before this, many years before this, I was a full-time pharmacist. So I dealt with medication and with drugs and with health. And I got into that field because I wanted to help people. But once you get over there, you realize the system isn't really made for really helping people. It's more of a crutch. The money is in the treatment, not the cure. And so that was okay for a while. And I will say everything is always fine until the day is not. So one of the things I used to love to do was take trips. I was headed on a trip to Bali, Indonesia, 36 hours there, 36 hours back. Ended up getting a flight-induced blood clot halfway there on the plane, and it threw and became a pulmonary embolism. So normally when that happens, you die. And I was thinking, this can't be it for me. Long story short, I made it. I made it to the hospital, but I was in the hospital indefinitely. Everybody's sentiments were, there's no reason why you should be here. Like, you must have a greater purpose somewhere. But in saying that, they said, we don't know if you're going to be here for weeks, for months or not, but get comfortable. And so long story short, what at that time was me just trying to experience life, just trying to enjoy, turned into a whirlwind. So of course, you're in the hospital, you can't work, you have the same bills, you have a load of new bills, you have new people that have to be seen. And before this, I was very diligent with saving. I didn't know much about money, because people would tell me, well, you're a pharmacist, go make the money and let somebody else handle it. Well, when that incident happened, everything crumbled. and my savings was going out the window. I had to liquidate investments. And of course, because I'm younger, I wasn't at the age where I could even tap into that. So you got penalized for it.
Mm.
And what essentially took me 11 years to build took 11 months to
Wow.
disintegrate. And I remember laying there in the hospital bed, seeing at that time, it was, well, President Trump is back now, but I remember seeing him and I remember thinking, I feel like this would never happen to him. What I'm going through would never happen. And whatever that is, I need to find out what that is or get as close as possible. And that started my flight into the financial, business, tax, and really, strategy work.
Wow, that's an incredible and great story. I'm glad that you're here and everything's okay now. Now,
Me
I
too.
always tell people there are two important days in your life. The first day is the day you're born, and the second day is when you find out why. And it sounds like you kind of had a end of life experience
I
to say
did. I
to
did.
really discover what that purpose is and
Yeah.
move into the financial services. Now, you mentioned something that kind of the health system is broken, where they're kind of focusing more on selling you more of the medication as opposed to really focusing on where the real problem is and what is the
Yeah.
challenges that are happening. Now, I personally feel that in the financial business or the financial industry, it's kind of the same thing. There is the traditional way of how to handle finances, and there is kind of the more optimized, more strategic way. So was there a moment when you kind of realized the same thing? I mean, you kind of mentioned that in your story where, you did exactly what you were told, right? Kind of
Yeah.
go get good education, go get a job, and everything's going to be okay. You go make the money and somebody else is going to take care of it. But then when kind of life throws you a curveball, that whole kind of house of cards falls down, right? So was there a
Exactly.
moment when you kind of realized that, hey, the traditional financial advice just wasn't even enough and kind of moved you in the direction you're in right now?
Yes, yes. So I met a billionaire mentor. I didn't know that he was a billionaire at the time. And initially, after all this happened, a friend of mine sent me him and said, "Hey, you should talk to this person. They can help you get back on track." And they were talking to me about being a client initially. And I was like, well, this would have been amazing before, but I just lost everything. Like I was literally building back from a hole. And one of the things he told me was, you know what, you're right. This would never happen in our world. And he said, I see something in you. I would love for you to come aboard, learn from me personally, as well as my team to see how we do things. And so from there, it just took off. And I will tell you, it was like the blinders came off of my eyes to see how they really work. You hear the rules and you know the rules of money, and you hear, I'll mention even Warren Buffett because he's one of my favorite on his rules of money. His first rule of money is to never lose money. Second rule of money is always follow rule one.
Yeah,
But
never
how do you
forget
do
about number
that?
one.
It
Yes.
sounds like a riddle, and it sounds like I've had people before say, "Oh, it's got to be losing money." No, he just told you he doesn't lose money. So how does that happen? And coming into that world and seeing not only the financial vehicles they use, but the fact that they have tax codes on them, the ones that they really use, that says, you know what? If you put your money here, not only do you just get the great parts, you just get growth of your money, but we can make it illegal for you to lose money
Mm.
if you put your money here. And so just to see everybody else in that grind and that, the traditional accounts where your money goes up and down, not only are you at risk of losing money, but you have to pay taxes. But there's ways that essentially behind the scenes, if your money can just go up, behind the scenes, that's not considered an investment in the I would say more in the tax code world. And because it's not considered an investment, you don't have to pay taxes on that money. If you can make your money go unidirectional. Same thing you're trying to achieve, but without the losses. And I mean, it's so much better. And think about how much more you could recoup if you were just going up. And not only you didn't have to give back that, whether you're, depending on what tax bracket, you're 25, you're 37, you're 40%. How much more money would you have if you could capture all of that back? That is the power that we want to bring everyone else into.
Yeah, you bring a great point when it comes down to there are different rules in the world. I often talk about it. There was kind of this red world and this blue world. There was the red world of scarcity mindset,
For
and
sure.
scarcity. It's not necessarily negative. I mean, personally, I was born into that world. It's the middle class. We don't really understand how money works, and then you got
Yeah,
this world of abundance. And there are
for
different
sure.
rules and different principles. And I feel often what happens with people, they don't realize that, yeah, everybody wants to be in the blue world, but they don't understand that you cannot use the rules from the world of scarcity in the
Yeah.
world of abundance. It just doesn't
Uh,
work. And often it works against you. And we often see this with individuals that, win the lottery, or, you work with athletes where athletes suddenly, where they don't understand, they're suddenly go start making money. Often they go bankrupt. And it's like, how do you go bankrupt when you have made millions of dollars? Does that make sense? Well, again, it's because they don't understand that there are different rules, how money really
sure.
operates and how that's
Yes.
set up.
I love that. I mean, you summed that up perfectly, perfectly.
So, so that's great. I mean, I love the story. You met a billionaire, and he's kind of helping you how to go and build all of this stuff, and became your mentor. Now, when you do the work, who are the kinds of clients that you are serving most right now? Like, who is it that you work with?
Yeah, our clients are high net worth individuals. I will say a lot of times we go from net worth, and we have a tier-based company or a tier-based system. So we work with 7, 8, 9 figure, and even 10 figure and up. Our tier-based, it of course it's based on, like I say, your net worth. But if you think about it, it is silver, gold, platinum, and black label. Everybody needs different strategies at different levels. And so I just went to an event, funny enough, and this event was basically 9 figures and up. And people were shocked. They were like, "You mean?" I had somebody literally say, "You mean you work with people that have 7 figures?" And I was like, "Yeah, we have to be able to get them there. Like you're there now, but what about the other person?" Essentially, they've done amazing with what they've had. And most of these business owners have an internal team, which is great. You have your CPAs, you have your accountants, you have your bookkeepers, even CFOs, financial advisors, which is awesome. And we don't discount anything that they do, but because of how they work in the business with compliance.
Hmm.
And with compliance, the way that goes, you will always have a set amount of taxes. What if people draw the line and have a team that strategically works alongside of your internal team so that now we focus on that taxable money? And I will say we have a unique structure within our company. We have a 7 step system. We actually call it the 5, 6, 7 transformational system. And it is 5 laws that you must have to your money to
Hmm.
really advance. Once we have that 5 laws, those 5 laws together, when we apply it, it collapses time. So what would have taken somebody a lifetime to make can now be made in a couple of years. And once we do that, we unlock the 6th law, I say, where money almost becomes spiritual. I call it the law of reciprocity, where when you put money out there, what if your money showed up 3 or 4 different places? We even have ways where the same dollar can show up in 8 different places.
Hmm.
I mean, what you put out here, you get way more back. And at that point, it becomes more about impact. Once we have your money on autopilot like that, where now you don't have to really worry about, how am I going to keep my business afloat? How are me and my family, how am I going to leave a legacy? How am I going to, just in case something does happen and the economy collapses, how do I keep this business afloat? Now, when you don't have those things top of mind, how much more could you do in the world? And we have a unique 7-step process that we do this with. And I would say, too, something else different about us is that we're a conglomerate company of the top experts in the world
Mm.
in the particular strategies that we bring. So when you see a lot of these huge people on, I would say on TV, these billionaires, you know, a lot of these people that work with us work with a lot of those administrations. But if you think about it, those people are under NDAs. These wealthy people or billionaires you see, they're never going to tell you, oh, this is the team that I work with. Let me introduce you. If you want to find them, you'll find them here. They'll never tell you that. They don't want you to even know what they're doing. So for our clients uniquely, we found a way to bring this to everybody else where their NDAs are not violated, yet we can still bring them the same type of strategies, the same quality of service, and really be able to deliver. And I will say too, how you mentioned we work with small business and entrepreneurs. We work with large businesses. We work with Fortune 500 companies. We work with industry titans. We work with those in family offices, those with inherited money. How do you keep that going? Because a few good missteps can implode even an operation like that. And I've heard many stories about that. And we have ways essentially with our system that would never happen. And we stand by that. We stand by our brand promise, and we know we can deliver.
Wow, you shared something that now you really piqued my interest from the perspective. I love what you actually said, that, what you
Mhm.
do is all based on principles. And,
Yep.
I often tell this people that in business and in life, everything runs on principles. I mean, you know what? Gravity, it's a principle. It works. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter who you are, what you
Yes.
do. You go on top of a building, you hop off, you will go down 100% of the
Yes.
time. It's not 99% of the time, it's 100% of the time. And I feel
Mhm.
that what you mentioned, how you go and manage money, you use these same principles. Now, you mentioned that there was kind of these 6 principles or laws that you mentioned. Could you just give us an idea what one or two of them are? Just kind of we have a
Right.
better understanding what some of these rules that you govern by?
Sure, sure. So, as far as these 5 laws that we say that must be applied to your money, let's start with the first one because we do advanced strategies. So, the law of leverage, first of all, you do, I mean, you need to be able to utilize somebody else's money. Let's be honest, your money is tied up in the business, you're tied up in the day to day, your time is tied up. I mean, why not use someone else's money? Let's say even, I mean, for what we're doing, we're using what was the IRS's money. It's on your balance book, but when you get that invoice saying that you must pay the IRS, that is not your money. So we can use the IRS's money or that taxable money that you were unnecessarily giving away and then apply leverage. And a lot of our strategies, we can even use the bank's money.
Hmm.
So it's a way of growing your money using someone else's money. And essentially, you do the same thing in business. As a CEO, as a business owner, I mean, if you were in the construction business, could you really handle all the meetings? Could you do all the marketing? Could you build and do everything that you used your entire team for? No, you would never get a project done. You leverage people. So, same idea that you leverage people in business, you want to leverage money or those tax dollars to build you more. So, law leverage will use the law of other people's money as well. And so, those two go together with that. And we have strategies that we even can have for a lot of our clients. We can have the bank fund multi-millions on your behalf. And essentially, what if the bank was using their money to produce more money for you? And you just use your taxable money to pay them the interest. Now we're creating
Hmm.
wealth for pennies on the dollar. There is a system. There's a world power system out here as to how money is created. And if you think about it, everything in this world has been created with this money or has been paid for with this money. every single family home, every mansion you see, every commercial building, every car you see on the road, when that deal is done and you sign your name, that item has been paid off.
Hmm.
They let you then decide how you're going to pay them back. You decide, okay, I'm going to pay for this many years. This is my payment. This is how this is going to go. And they let you leisurely pay them back. How do they produce enough money to pay off everything in the world and then let you decide to pay them back? What if there was a way we could tap into that same system? And the powerful part is even using our taxable money to do that. Either that, or we can, for a lot of people, very few don't have, that tax liability. I'm like, we can write it in the budget. I mean, don't you think your money, your wealth, your security of yourself, your family, your business is important? And I mean, there's ways that that falls under different tax codes. If you say this is ordinary and necessary for my business, check mark. But if we could take that money and tap into that same world power system, you could become a partner with the banks and how they create this money. How much further could you be? How much? So we're going to use that to tap into it. And I mean, that's just two of our simple principles. I'll reveal two more. I'll say we have to have tax code law because that's the law that we live under. We are ruled by that. But what we uniquely do is most people are afraid of the IRS, and the IRS is not the enemy. They are just a part of the game. I mean, if they weren't there, people would be running them up and doing whatever they want to do. But there's a book that they have, a rule book. And what if we could take that rule book and make that rule book our rule book? Now it's our playground. Now we can do what we need to do, what we want to do. And we can turn that into 95% of that book is written in our favor. It's just if you have experts and people who can do that for you and really interpret it. And so you do need that part, but there's a little secret that makes what we do a little different. Just to ask Daniel, have you ever heard of something called page 47
Uh,
strategies?
no, no, I have not, and I'm not
Yeah.
aware of. I'm sure it's interesting. So let's dive into that.
Well, you know what? It's one of my favorite. And this page 47 strategies, you would think that by the name of it, it's like, oh, all the strategies that these wealthy people use are on page 47 of the tax code. But guess what? If you go to page 47, it's not there. And so basically behind the scenes, they're like, yeah, we do page 47 strategies. It's like a thumbing of the nose to everyone else to say, you'll never figure out what we do or how we do it. And so that other piece has to be there. And not only do you have the tax code, but where everything is written out exactly. Page 47 strategies is what is unsaid in the tax rule book. Because in order to really get ahead, not only do you have to read what is being said, but what is not being said.
Hmm.
And so that part right there is almost the mystical piece. It's very fun over here. Like we turn it into a game for our clients. And essentially the idea is to see where they are. How much are you paying in taxes? Where do you want to be? In a perfect world, if we could wave a magic wand, if you're paying 5 million in tax, how much would you like that to be? If you want it to be zero, tell us that. And some people are like, yeah, I would love for it to be zero. Some people still have the mindset of, well, I still need to pay some tax because it's my patriotic duty. No, no, no. Behind the scenes, really, as a business owner, you're not supposed to be paying taxes. The government is a corporation and they look at you like you are a part of them. You are helping them. Because of what you do in your business, you supply jobs to people. And because of those jobs, now you're making America stronger. Now this person doesn't have to be on public assistance. Now they can feed their family. Now they can pay for that apartment or that mortgage that goes to feed that banking system. So there are, like I said, 95% of it is in your favor. So you're not supposed to be paying business tax. You pay enough. You have property tax, sales tax, employment tax, whatever. You have a plethora of taxes to pay. So on this side, this is where you start to get ahead and applying the page 47 strategies, which it's a very fascinating area,
Mm.
but that is the missing piece that America really has. That plus the tax code. Very few people know what's in that book. And like I said, if you read it straight out, you have a lot of people that are like, okay, it says I can do this, it says I can do this, it says I can do this. But if you're operating from that side, you're definitely missing out because they would never write out exactly what they're doing. So, you have to have that other piece. And we dive into that side for our strategies and to be able to bring our clients the best of the best and fulfilling our brand promise.
No, that's really great story, and you bring a couple of things out that are really important. And I don't know exactly how many pages are on one side or the other side, but we call them, there's the stop lights, right? And there's the
Uh-huh.
go lights when you look at that, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
most CPAs and accountants focus on the stoplights. And let's just say
Mhm.
out of, I don't know how many there is, let's just say there was 50,000 pages, it might be plus and more, I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
there is maybe
Yeah.
like 200 pages that's got the stoplights, and that's all the compliance, and that's what everybody focus
Yeah.
on. Nobody focuses on those green lights, and I think that's what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Those are all of the ways how to advantage. And I really like what you mentioned from that perspective, that you know what, really, when you look at it, the small business owners are the ones that are really carrying the whole economy. Yeah, there's the big corporations and that are doing things, and obviously they're paying their taxes and they employ a lot of people, but it's really the small
Yes.
businesses, they're the bigger force. And as you
Yeah.
mentioned, the IRS actually has designed the way, the code is designed in a way to actually favor business owners, but most of them I'm not aware of it because I call it that the IRS doesn't advertise these things. They advertise
Right.
the compliance. They don't talk about that other side, which is,
Yeah.
the bigger. That's where close to 50,000 pages are, where the stoplights are smaller. So
Yeah.
it's really fascinating what you're mentioning. And I think that a lot of our listeners and business owners, they don't really understand, or even high net worth individuals, they don't understand that there are these different rules and how they really work. So that's really great that you go and expose them to this and educate them, because I think there is a bit of a mindset shift, because as we mentioned, we've kind of been taught up like, hey, go to school, get a good job, kind of
Yeah.
become that employee mentality. And even when we go and start a business, we still have that thinking. But when you're talking about kind of living more in that blue world, that world of abundance, it takes a way different way of thinking. And what I'm hearing you is you are teaching those principles, those kind
Yes.
of rules to somebody. And there is a bit of a learning curve, I guess that's what it comes down to, right?
It is a learning curve because people are so used to things being one way. And it does take a shift.
Hmm.
But essentially, people recognize that they want to do better. They want to, they want more. They want to know more. They just don't know what that is or how to get to it. So it is one of my favorite things to teach on, as well as even compound interest. How do you really make money work for you in the background?
Hmm.
How can you take a little something that is normally sitting there, whether it's within the business or within your bank account, if it's sitting there, it's losing money. Money
Hmm.
has the name of currency because just like waves in the ocean, it needs to be moving in order to make money. If it's standing still, you're losing money. So why not have this money? I mean, just replicating itself like a cell. And because I come from a science background, you have a cell. That cell turns around and goes through a process and divides into two, and then that two divides into four, and then the
Hmm.
four goes to eight, and then 16, and then it's doing this behind your back or while you're working. Wouldn't it make sense to have your money working just as hard in the background while you're working hard in the everyday? And essentially, I mean, that is how that along with the taxable money and having these rules there to collapse time. I mean, that's how we get to those blueprint of billions, those billions of dollars that's being left on the table. And I realized billions is a huge number with a B. I had somebody before, they were like, billions, really? That's such a big number. Yeah, it is, but I mean, It depends on how you look at it. I mean, the
Just
world
three
is your
extra zeros
oyster.
on a million, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of zeros on there. There are 10 zeros on a billion like that. But hey, if we can take that, like I said, take that money, whether, like I said, you're a small business, and it depends on how much you're putting in, but small business, whether you are in that family office area, whether you are in Fortune 500 country, regardless, if you're leaving any money on the table that can grow and compound, I mean, all of that behind the scenes, like I said, once we tap into leverage, we can have the bank get involved, have them fund their money. That little bit, well, whatever amount it is, whether it's a little bit or a lot of it, using that to use, like I said, use these pieces and have somebody else fund that for you, yet we're eating away at that taxable money, not necessarily making your money go to work directly, but using someone else's money to make their work, make their money go to work directly,
Yeah.
is another story.
Yeah.
And, I kind of say we're in the BFL. If people like sports, there's the NFL, but we have the BFL, the Billionaire Financial League.
Mm.
If you're ready to go, look, you enter the draft. We're here.
I love that BFL. That sounds great. Now,
Yeah.
you said that, income doesn't become wealth without conversion. Can you expand on that a little bit? Because that sounds really, fascinating. And I know that's kind of the whole conversion idea is kind of
Yeah.
the part of everything that you do.
Yeah, your income is the part that is always being taxed, no matter how much you make. So, in the system we live in the regular world, in the matrix we live in, the more money you make, the more money they're going to take. The real key is in the conversion of that money that they would be taking. How do we essentially make sure that you make the max you know how to make in business? Turn around and convert that money that you will be unnecessarily giving away. There
Mm.
are lots of tax codes that we can put to this money. And essentially, like there's ways that we reason out why you need it for business. We can deduct it all out. And that's the huge part. There are many, not only do you get to recapture that money, so you get to recapture it first.
Mm.
Then we get to use that to put it to work. So we use the advanced strategies to do that. And then it shows up on your balance sheet. So we get to write that off. We get to make it tax deductible. Your money just showed up in three different places that it normally would not.
Mm.
And now that it goes on that balance sheet, it goes to make sure that you kept the money that you made in business. So now we're making two huge steps forward, no steps back, or at least we're limiting them. Of course, that's up to the client how they would like to do. I tell them that as I'm here as kind of like the coach, but you call the shots, we call the plays, and we can make it happen. But if you're taking those two steps forward, no steps back, think about how much faster you can
Absolutely.
scale. You're making these advancements. You don't want to take 5 steps forward in business, 3 steps back. Following year, 6 steps forward, 2 steps back. Take out the steps back. Just take the steps forward. And on this side, your money, once it gets started, I mean, the reason why they say compound interest, they say it's the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it.
Mm.
He who does not pays it. If you're not earning it, you're paying it somewhere. So why not be earning it? And why not use that taxable money? Or, like I said, the money you were throwing away, at that point, giving it to the IRS is the same thing as flushing it down the toilet, putting it in a bin and burning it. You can dump it in the ocean. It's up to you. Same thing. I mean, you can put it in a trash disposal. Pick. It's all the same. So once the
Yeah.
money is gone, we cannot recapture it. And so we can start today doing that. And that's huge. Saying that, okay, we can make the turnaround today if you decide that. Then it's almost the end of the year. I mean, you have November and December. I mean, make a decision that you want to do something different. And essentially everything we do, like I said, only works in your benefit. A lot of people think that it's surreal that, wow, what's the, what's the catch? Like, it's got to be something bad to it. No, no, these billionaires have become billionaires for a reason, and they only seem to be getting richer over time. How did they do that?
Yeah.
And through the conversion factor, that is how you can get there too.
Yeah. No, that's really great. Now, you know what? Let me ask you this. What's one of the belief about money or wealth that you personally had to unlearn?
I had to unlearn, and sorry, this is not a for my financial advisors, this is not anything against you, but investments is not necessarily, well, I'll say traditional wealth vehicles. It's not what these wealthier people use behind the scenes.
It's okay. You're in a safe place. We
They
often talk about that. It's about the alternative investment, so you don't have to apologize. There's a whole idea of making life less taxing. The
yeah.
podcast is about that, so you're good.
But yeah, my billionaire mentor brought this to my attention. He said, "We don't have financial advisors. We just don't. I mean, the vehicles we use, what is the point of management? What is the point of having my money being a gamble? It's my money is determined by all of these outside factors that I have no control of.
Mm.
And as a billionaire, I need control. I need control of my business. I need control of my money. I need control of my family. I need control. And so, why would you continue, if you really think about it, if this was available, to have your money to where anything could happen? I mean, it could be, of course, we 2020 we had COVID. What if another COVID comes back? I mean,
Mm.
it's getting cold outside. The world shook when COVID came. Of course, there's always a threat, of possibly us going to war. We've seen what happened, or just the threat of that, and then the whole market swoons. And what took you 10, 15 years to make went away like that.
Mm.
And then people love to say, "Oh, the market will come back." And I had to learn to get past this too. And it's like, yeah, eventually it'll come back, but you're taking an additional 10 years to get back to zero where you were before. If there was a way where your money could only advance, you could ride the market up, you could also get compound interest on that money as well. There's a tax code that says, you can't lose money, nor do you have to pay taxes on it. And if the market drops, your money locks in place. So you never have to worry about losing another dime. How much more powerful would that be if people knew that that existed? And I mean, that is what we're working to bring into the world. You can pick up where you left off without taking those steps back. Stop thinking that in life we have to take those steps back, because you do not have to do that. So
Again, I think that's
I would
some of
say
that.
that's the biggest piece.
Yeah, no, that's really great, and I think you bring again talking about these two worlds. The red world. We've been told work hard, right? Making money is hard. Where when you go and you start listening to, billionaires, all they focus
Yeah,
on, and wealthy people, they focus on, hey, how do I take the money that I go and make somewhere, and how do I go and have them make babies?
yeah,
How does my
exactly.
money make more money? Again, it's a completely
Exactly.
different way of thinking because again all of these rules often are almost the opposite, right? I mean, one of the best example is that most people that are living in a scarcity world, they spend a lot of time, right?
Yeah,
Chasing after saving money, right?
you do.
And in the abundance, they're actually spending a lot of money saving time. And it's like, hold on, two things are opposite. Well, again, because they
Yes.
understand that, time is the only resource that's not renewable. Like
Yeah,
you cannot
exactly.
go and I mean we can multiply it now because of AI and everything, but again, you know what? We're not going to grow younger. We're only growing older. So
Yeah,
that keeps on escaping us. And
yeah,
unfortunately, I know when I grew up, that was not. It was always, hey, you got to go in order to make money, you got to go and work hard. And all of these
yeah.
things are quite ingrained in us. So when you kind of go and start looking at this, I'm sure, and just even like you mentioned, the traditional world of investments or financial world, right? That's part of the reason why I got out of the industry. It was kind of like, hey, listen, they were not really teaching me how to help my clients. They were teaching me how to
Hmm.
sell their products. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't want to go and
Yeah.
participate in that. That was the
Mhm.
reason why I came out of it. I now call myself a recovering CFP, right?
I love it.
So because there is this whole change, so I really appreciate, what you have shared, and what I really appreciate you and from I've talked to hundreds of advisors, you've taken a lot of the concept often that we talk about, and you simplified it using analogies and using really simple terms and things and analogies. Often, I think the challenge with advisors is they get into the weeds where they start getting and explaining the complicated stuff.
They
You're
do.
talking more in the concepts, you're talking about strategies, and you're talking about principles, right?
Mhm.
Instead of all of the details, because most
Yeah.
people, they don't really care about the details. They just care about, hey, you know what? I've got this challenge. This is where I'm at. Hey, I would love to be, this is where I'm at. I love to be over here. Can you get me
Yeah.
here? They don't really care how you get there. Right.
Exactly.
They're like, hey,
Exactly.
if you can get me there, and like you mentioned, you know what, without taking, 5 steps forward and 7 steps back every 10 years, you
Yeah.
know what, I'm all ears, right?
For sure. For sure. And I'll say too, because I love that you bring up like the state of abundance, and with my how you said principles. One of the things that I love to break down for people is having them think about that state of abundance versus the state of the chase.
Hmm.
And even wealthier people, you have a lot of them that's still in the state of the chase. And I'm like, that state of abundance, is characterized by just overflow, abundance, opulence, those things. And with abundance, our money is always like money is attracted to us.
Hmm.
We don't chase money or matter, it's chasing us. And that state of the chase, I characterize that by lack, loss, and limitation. If you feel like you're lacking, if you're losing somewhere, limitation, if you think, oh, I can only do this, like every year we only get to this certain point, and we always have this goal in mind, but we never really hit that goal. It's like, maybe next year.
Hmm.
Next year never comes because the same thing is going to happen. You have to
Tomorrow never
disrupt
comes.
the
Tomorrow,
system.
yeah, tomorrow is
Yeah,
always tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes, yet everybody's saying, "Oh, I'll do it tomorrow." No, you need to
yeah,
realize it will never come because it's always
yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to have a disruption to your current system. You can't continue to do the same thing and think that you're going to get different results. So even for the people who are caught up in the investment side, with you saying you're recovering CFP, that's fine. Like have something else on this side. Like do tax. I call it you can have both. It's a way of tax diversification.
Hmm.
Why not have a bucket of money that's producing tax-free compounding wealth that you can never outlive versus what you have? Because if the market plummets and that money goes away, you need a backup plan.
Hmm.
And then, I mean, you can see what the differences are. You can compare for yourself. I mean, don't take my word for it, but over time you will see which one is doing better and you can decide if you want to continue going that way or if you want to convert fully on this side. Regardless, it's your choice.
Yeah.
And that's the key, having a choice. Most people don't have a choice or don't feel like they do. Now you have a choice.
Yeah.
And
No, we
so that state of abundance is way better than that lack, loss, and limitation for sure.
100%. I always love to ask this question, people. You know what? Hey, do you believe that, kids or children have an option of going to school or not going to school? Do you have a choice if they go to school or not to school? Most people say, no, they don't have a choice. And it's like, no, they always have a choice. They just might not like the consequences, right?
Yeah,
And we
that's
feel, again,
true.
we live in a society that we feel like, no, no, we have to do the, no, you have a choice. You have an option. I
Yeah.
think same thing. Do you have to pay taxes? Well, the answer is yes or no. It's not about paying the taxes, it's how you structure the way you pay taxes. And are you going to pay
Mhm.
all of the taxes, or are you going to get using somebody else's money to pay taxes, right? Or are you
Yeah.
going to use the law, right, the IRS code in your favor, or are you just going to use it in compliance, which that's most people do. So there is
Yeah.
always a choice. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't kind of looking at that. For someone that's listening who kind of feels a little bit overwhelmed, that they're maybe or they're late in the game or they feel like, hey, we're just too late. What's the one small meaningful step that they can take today?
Yeah. Make a decision.
Hmm.
So I mean, as long as you're still breathing, there's time. And like I said, the idea here is the strategies that we do and the way that we do them. It in real life, I would say in more chronos, as far as where time exists, most people it would take them a lifetime to achieve what we're able to do.
Mm.
But having these advanced strategies and having experts that know how to do this, collapsing time, and like I said, now we can make the same valiant produce the same effects in a matter of a few short years. It doesn't have to take all day, but you do have to make a decision.
Mm.
The ball is in your court. You do have to decide. And if you want that, I'm like, why not? I say that there is that this is the golden Mega Millions ticket, a way for you to hit the lottery every
Mm.
single year from now on. Like if there was a way that you could purchase a ticket that would allow you to do that and really start to get ahead, and every year it's a guaranteed payout. I mean, even the
Awesome.
ticket itself was tax deductible. Would you
You-
not buy that ticket?
Yeah.
Buy the
I,
ticket.
I love it. I was expecting some big philosophical question or answer to the question, and you said, make a decision. I just love it how you take things that seem complex and you simplify it. And I think this is really what I'm getting from you when you work with somebody. That's what you help them to do. So, listen, as we're wrapping up in here, I've got these four rapid questions. They're just kind of one word or one word questions that you can basically go and answer with one word. And we'll go
Okay.
through these. What's the one book that has really shaped your thinking the most?
I would say page 47 strategy book.
Love it. Oh, you're
That
just making people now
that's
interested.
that's
They
for
will have to
me.
reach out to you and find out what that is. So that's great. Uh, what's a daily habit or morning routine that you can't live without?
Now it is more meditation and being
Mm.
centered. So just taking out the noise, taking out the stressors, and really becoming focused on, okay, what do we have to do today? The clients that I have, so that I can bring the best strategies, we can have the best conversations, and we can just make sure that every effort that we're making is a valiant effort moving forward, and everybody feels great about what happened that day.
Yeah, that's great advice. What's one bucket list that you still haven't checked off yet?
Ooh, a bucket list item. I would say, well, so this is not related to money, but you do need money to do this. I want to visit every place in the world, but I want to go down the alphabet. Not every place in the world, but I want to basically visit places that start with letters of the alphabet and check
Mm.
off the entire alphabet. So, like A, Aruba, B, like maybe Barbados,
Mm.
C, Cayman Islands. I would love to do that and just go down and experience just experience the world, this beautiful world. And it's even better knowing that your money is just multiplying in the background. You didn't take any
Yeah,
setbacks, you're just out here enjoying. So
yeah,
that's my bucket list item.
yeah. That's great. What's a hobby or passion that recharges you outside of work?
Hobby or passion? You know what? Um, I would say walks.
Mm.
And really, like I said, just taking the time to not only recharge myself, but just taking a breakaway. And whether that's working out, I enjoy that as well. But like I said, walks outside in nature and just seeing this amazing world and actually having the time to experience that is huge. So many people are working so much, they don't get that.
Mm.
They barely get to enjoy their families. They barely get to see them. Their children are growing up, having basketball games, soccer games, tennis matches, and they're missing that
Yeah.
because they feel like they're in the grind. They have to be. But again, it doesn't have to be that way. And so, taking those walks is a little reminder of just that sweetness that I can taste now on this side of the financial world.
Yeah. No, that's great. No, I love going for walks. That's great.
Yeah.
Now, this is the one last question. I call it the hot one.
Mhm.
Fast forward to the end of your life.
Yeah.
If everyone forgot everything that you have ever taught or you built, but they
Yeah.
do have the option of remembering just the one last message from you, what would that message be?
That message would be that she cared.
Hmm.
She made a difference. Because of what she helped me with, now my family is different. My generations are different. How many of us really remember who our great, 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 great grandparents are? But I guarantee you, if you start this type of wealth and start this type of machine that operates not only with you and your generation, but the machine that continues through generations, they will remember who you are.
Mhm.
I guarantee you there will be a picture, a plaque, or something, but they will not forget who you were and what you started for their family. And I I would love to be remembered for that, that I could just make some semblance of a difference out here in this world.
It sounds like great legacy. Wow, what a powerful and perspective shifting conversation, Dr. Murphy. Thank you for sharing your story and really your heart. Where can people learn more about you?
For sure. So, of course, I'm on LinkedIn. You can search for my name, Dr. Verneka Murphy. Feel free to message me there. You can also go to our company website. It is www.millionairetrifecta.com. And some people will ask what the trifecta is for. And I'm like, it's the money trifecta. More money now, more money later, more money forever.
More
So,
money. I like that.
more money. So
That's
yeah, www.millionairetrifecta.com, and you can fill out the contact form there. And like I said, we can start with a simple conversation just to see where you are, where you would like to be, and we can start forming a plan. And we do customized plans for everyone. No one, there's not a cookie cutter form. We do have a system, but everything is customized. So I would love for you to reach out there. Um, like I said, on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Facebook as well. We're doing a little bit of revamping on the Facebook page, but
mm,
you can always find me by my name. Uniquely enough, I have a unique name. So, you'll see my face and picture, and I would love to hear from you. We would love to be able to help you
yeah,
and just make a decision.
that's perfect. So if you're listening, be sure to check out the website, a LinkedIn profile, and a Facebook, really to tap into the tools that were created for you to really help you with your income building, lasting wealth building, and
Yeah.
really to help you with whatever that might be and putting that plan together for you. So remember, making life less taxing isn't just about money, it's about freedom, clarity, and purpose. Keep building wealth, keep protecting your legacy, and keep living the untaxable lifestyle. We'll see you next
Yeah.
time. Make Life Less Taxing podcast. Thank you so much, Dr. Murphy.
Thank you, Daniel. It's been a great pleasure.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Make Life Less Taxing podcast. Be sure to check out our other top advisor interviews at makelifalesstaxingpodcast.com.